done very well. Shackle obviously retained from last split, and Clover7 coming in as a rookie and doing some pretty damn disgusting stuff. So, Draven, man?
Olaf Draven.
Should be expecting it. Olaf Draven? Olaf Draven?
Okay.
I mean,
Draven
you said it like 3 hours ago, bro. It's the Olaf, it's the Draven. You can't really give these champions to Domino because they will pick them up and they'll do disgusting things to you with them.
Yeah, Spooder's a very well-known Olaf one-trick right now, and, you know, why do you think the guy's called Two Axes? There's the Olaf and there's the Draven bans. You knew that you had to be doing this. Let's see what else Ruddy come out with. If there's targeted bans on Ruddy, it would be stuff like the Kane on MV carry, right? The Nunu on Zapdo, but you're on red side, so you're looking at the Zeri-Lock ban, you're looking at the Milio Lucian conundrum, which they fall onto the Milio side of things. We saw Lucian Nami not really being that effective last game, probably strengthened their resolve. The Vi still being banned because you're likely to just put priority on their AD carry, and, you know, you still have Wukong. If worst comes to worst, if you don't feel like you have a good blind. Yuumi was the ban last time here. I'm interested to see the Lucian, but again, it's more like a Lucian Milio thing, so probably Nico, probably Annie. One of these two is generally the last ban on red, and yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a stale meta, guys. That is the wrong blue-white champion, the wrong part of the Is it Freljord? Is Nunu part of Freljord?
Yeah, that's in the lore,
Yeah, that's the wrong one. They accidentally locked in Sejuani, so hopefully that goes to Shihan, and Zapdo locks in Nunu, and they go for the TFT Ice buff from the first season. Cassante, really typical blind. Normally you'd see insta AD carry match, but here it would be an AD carry blind, right? And when it comes to jungle here, are they just going to match jungle now? You'd expect jungle match into AD carry.
Yeah, could do. And I think the reason that we do see Domino pick up the Cassante is just because Spooder seems like he's confident playing it into kind of anything, kind of anyone. Don't want to bring up any bad memories for him, but he did get robbed a little bit of the MVP, according to some people, last week. So hopefully he's going to be able to get maybe 100 CS up on his lane opponent at 10 minutes, and that will be enough to get them the W. Ruddy doubling down here on kind of what you were talking about here. We've got maybe not utility AD carry here for Tosa, but it is a little bit more weak-sided. Shihan, though, going to be on the Darius, one of his most favorite picks.
Yeah, and I mean, Cassante is the exact kind of matchup you want to be into, something that basically has to play forward, has to play into your ranges. Cassante is just going to want to try to queue you, and queue and keep queuing permanently, but you do have the option to move Cassante in towards mid lane and pick a more neutralizing thing. This Gragas could go top, it could go bot, it could go jungle, we have no idea right now, but the Cassante doesn't necessarily have to go in towards that Darius. Good that they picked it though, right? The thing is, Spooder, yes, he loves Olaf, but he's not glued onto stat check champions. He has more options than that, right? I wouldn't be surprised to see the guy go a kind of ranged option or a tank option and be very comfortable. Looks like right now, though, Two Axes is the guy with the priority in the draft. They have the Aphelios. I like Ezreal into an Aphelios, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the range it plays into the Aphelios is pretty effective for denying the boomerang stuff. Darius, though, he doesn't like being kited, and he's into Aphelios. So there's a bit of an issue there, especially if Aphelios just goes straight on top of the Darius, you get the mitigation on the Q damage, right? So
with you can go red-white and basically just stand in melee range of the Darius, yeah.
Oh, I meant you get mitigation of the Q damage from Darius's big swingy axe.
From his swing, you don't get hit by the out bit of the axe, so you don't get all the hemorrhage on you.
Because he wants to be standing on top of Darius because of the white thing that you're talking about, right? So,
exactly.
Because of that, the Aphelios is actually oddly well placed in towards the Darius. The Yuumi being banned is interesting. Yuumi Ezreal is a good combo, but Yuumi Darius sounds like a disgusting combo. I like the Rakan being taken away as well, just a disturbing champion in general. The Kalista being Hov is interesting. That could potentially be a top lane Kalista in towards the Darius, but Darius hits Cripple with W, and it goes very bad very fast for Kalista, so it's a very feast or famine pick. One of these two would heavily snowball. It's been a while since I've seen it, and it's going to be a while longer before I see it again. Kalista, by the way, at that point would be a double flex into either support or top lane. But it is possible to do. The Braum gets locked in here, then everybody is just very boring. I don't like them. So.
I mean, you can't probably going into support. And currently, it looks like Two Axes and kind of the squad right now, because you got this Aphelios and then you got these three incredibly durable
really good.
champions around you. Janna would be nice here. Provide a little bit of disengaged Soraka. Possibly less nice, according to Veteran.
I mean, I love enchanters, but Janna is very uniquely placed into Braum because she can also interrupt. Actually, thinking about it, Soraka's E does a similar thing in terms of interrupting Braum's dash out. But I do love Janna in towards Braum. It's a very heavy bully in. Soraka's less easy to pilot as a bully in. I do like her nonetheless. The issue, so the reason that they've gone for the Braum pick where they have is because they want to maintain the flex that they have in the Gragas and the Cassante. But in doing so, you've basically turned it from priority bot into blind bot. And I don't necessarily agree with that. Going double dive into a Braum's an interesting one, to say the least. Triple dive into a Braum is a very interesting one, to say the least. But if you don't do something like this, then every single live viewer and co-streamer instantly says, wow, Sejuani, you have no melees, blah, 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 as if she just cannot function without them.
She doesn't have any other abilities, bro.
I think this is Yasuo top.
Could be. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me, honestly, coming out from Spuda, just being the kind of player that he is. I think Clover 7 also would be capable of piloting this one. So I think for Domino, it really is for them about who's going to be more comfortable on the pick.
They have a lot of really good stuff into the poke that Ruddy have, and Yasuo can later on play side lane in towards the Darius. E in towards Darius does the Q mitigation the same way. The problem is you open yourself up to cripple, right? But there are routes where Yasuo actually just straight wins this matchup. He used to be picked as a straight counter in towards Darius because of that Q mitigation. A lot of Darius is about whether you can mitigate that or not. So there is a route here, even if it's not being put onto Spuda in lane, where Clover 7 can later on match Darius in side lane, potentially match Akali in side lane, match anyone, and in the group situation, he's obviously just making the Ezreal fundamentally useless.
Yeah, and the win wall is just like the bane of every Ezreal's day, right?
Yeah.
It just completely nullifies that champion.
Every AD carry.
Not Senna. Senna's autos do not count as projectiles, so they go through wind wall.
True.
Yeah, but I suppose looking here at what Ruddy have got for themselves, it's another composition which is a bit more unorthodox, I think, in terms of the champions that we're picking. I think the top side, Darius, Sejuani, like Akali, you don't really tend to see that too often. Are we feeling like this is potentially going to be another natives game where we've got this more esoteric draft that isn't executable or isn't going to be executed? Or do you think that they've got the chance to do it?
I feel like both compositions are fairly standard, right? You have Sejuani, you have double melee. Akali used to be like the main staple last split. Like if you're just going by last week, then sure, Akali's a bit rarer. Darius is everywhere right now, right? And we even had Darius played last week a lot. So I'm not sure. I think the weirdest thing is the Soraka, right? But it makes a lot of sense when you remember that Soraka has a global ultimate. Darius will all want to be playing side lanes, and Soraka's R is going to help him in these one-on-one situations, no matter who matches him. Sure, Yasuo can have all these technical counters into a Darius that he wants and try to play it really intelligently around the W, but if he does so, and Soraka just slams R when Darius is on half HP, doesn't matter anymore, does it? Like, suddenly you're against a stat checker that has an overload of stats. So that's why they banned the Yuumi, that's why they're worried about the Soraka being here. This does signal that the game's going to be played around your favourite man in the top lane there. It's going to be about, can we see his opponent actually survive it, and can we see whoever matches him later on to survive it, be it Spuda, be it Clover 7, be it whoever. Nice composition by Domino as well though, right? Gragas Yasuo, classic. Slam. Braum knock-up as well. Slam that as well, right? Clover 7 has plenty of potential to get a massive ult off, and Aphelios can join him with the ult. Probably going to see pretty heavy AP from Shackle here, because the issue with that composition, he is their only magic damage. But Gragas going into AP does a bit too much damage, let's be real.
What was it, like sort of season 3? Back in the day when AP Gragas mid was just, you press 2 buttons and you literally one-shot people. Thankfully, Champion isn't quite in that state anymore, but it still does do a pretty disgusting amount of damage, especially to the sort of squisher carries here on the side of Ruddy, Envy Carry, and Toaster, likely going to be the focuses of his aggression when we get into the team fights.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I do think that when it comes to Shackle, Shackle is able to do heavy disengage on Envy Carry, on Zapdo, on Darius. That's basically going to be his role here, on top of setting up for Clover 7. Telegraphed composition on the right. And comp on the left is somewhat telegraphed as well. It's just harder, right? We don't really see 1-3-1s successfully executed very often. at any level, really. That's not necessarily an ERL thing. Like, LEC teams outside of Australia struggle with it as well. So, interesting to see what Ruddy do. Maybe they just end up with such a lane lead off their stat check champ that they don't have to care about anything like that, and the composition plays itself. But if they don't, they could struggle. They could run into issues, right? Like the veneer composition earlier today.
Yeah. Just fundamentally not quite able to get it over the line in the end. And veteran, I wanna tell you a fun fact, okay? And whilst we've got this pause, it's a perfect time to do it. Okay, I'm a little bit worried what just happened there. I'm not sure how I was able to make that happen.
Run with it.
Veteran, bro, in the bot lane, we got Toaster here alongside Piri, and obviously it would look rough for them last week, but I was chatting a little bit with Pui, and he was saying that working with Toaster really enjoys it. Like, this veteran experience alongside him is really sort of benefiting him as a young player sort of coming in. Like, we've got to remember, he's only 17. I believe he's the youngest player in the league. Obviously, coming through, going 0-2 in the first week is going to feel rough for you, but for me, looking at Ruddy, I'm like, this young guy and the other young guys on this team have strong pieces around them, have veteran presences around them that are hopefully going to be able to help with any of those nerves.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope, right? That they somewhat feel like they can be a passenger in a more experienced game. And in fairness, like, when that bot lane has been struggling, right, you have MV Carry and Zapdo in mid-jungle that are able to carry a lot of slack. MV Carry, a massive veteran. Obviously, Toaster is literally the most prolific player on the planet in terms of teams played for. And that will obviously help you learn bot lane. And you'd expect that the bot lane is somewhat able to coach itself, right? That Toaster's able to impart the accumulated knowledge of the centuries that he has played on towards Pui in the bot lane. By the way, having a player called Pui and a player called Poopy, like, how are we going to deal with this?
So I think we are being a little bit English right now. It is technically Pui. Okay, so that's the pronunciation. I've spoken to him. I've chatted with the guy. He said, "You know what, can we Pui? That's fine, but Pui." There's a little accent going on in the I, which I think makes you change the way that you pronounce it a little bit. Enough of that. We are back.
When we say Poopy or Pui, are we being childish or professional?
I think if you say them without laughing, I think that's really the mark. Because I could say Poopy now and it's fine, right? Nothing going on there.
You're thinking about laughing.
I'm not thinking about laughing right now. I'm deadly serious, veteran, as I am all the time.
If you're thinking about not laughing, then you're thinking about laughing.
I don't like that. I don't like that. I agree with you, but it makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Going through my Diogenes arc on the NLC right now. I have to ponder these questions.
Right, well, I hope you don't find yourself living in like a pot in a marketplace, okay? Like, let's not go too far in that direction.
Depends if Alexander the Great comes to visit me. That banger will live on forever. Oh! Clover.
True. Oh, Zapdo making a gank in the mid lane. Dash away from Clover. Going to be able to get out of there flash for flash.
Yeah. I just want to say, Shihan, with full knowledge of the top-to-bot path from Sejuani, knew that on Sejuani's transition from top to bot, he'd be able to get a proxy off, and then goes and interferes with Shackle's path. He's like, buddy, you think you're getting Krugs on topside free? You think you're going to feel safe doing Raptors? No, buddy. No. What's happening mid? Hello?
Oh, a potential fighting. I think Shackle's just here trying to ensure the wave is going to go through, but Clover 7 has stepped up a little bit too far. Oh, everything's going to go wide. Chasing down onto Shackle, but I think that Clover is going to be the kill. Shihan with first blood on the Darius.
Okay, the most characteristic thing about Adam's Darius that Shihan is replicating is the tendency to make plays off of priority topside in towards mid, in towards enemy jungle, just own the top side of the map. It's very common for old Tryndamere players to do that, and the Darius, Garen, Olaf kind of trinity, those types of players have kept that legacy going, right? Doing that proxy, getting the easy priority to be able to invade topside jungle, all that just off the knowledge of Sejuani early pathing, that's really good from Shihan. Shows he's incredibly comfortable in these stat check champions, and that he doesn't fall into a binary mode of playing it. He tries to bully, right? You have to play this champion like a bully, like you're going to get the tension from it, but my god, is it going to be worth it, right?
Absolutely worth writing. Load lines on the chalkboard at school. People haven't
Snabby
used
gets
chalkboards
it.
in absolutely years. Snabby knows. Snabby knows what we're talking about. Just being there, being annoying, and basically just ruining the enemy team's day. What do Domino now do to sort of deal with this, Darius? Because obviously it's just a kill, but Darius snowballs very aggressively as a champion. Is it sit tight in lanes? Is it send people to try and kill him? What's the game plan?
I think in 20 seconds, you want to be able to have Shackle on mid lane at the same time as Yasuo hits 6. The next wave is the wave that Yasuo will hit level 6 on. You're playing with Ignite on him still, so you want to play for that. You get the knock-up, you can start getting your mid-jungle going. I don't think it's about dealing with Darius. I think it's about making points on your team that Ruddy have to deal with, so they can't just snowball Darius for free.
Yeah, it makes sense. You sort of take that focus and take that attention away from a top side that's going to snowball against you, and you make it so that, hey, mid lane's really fed, so you need to answer that. But that's going to look tough right now, because as a consequence of a few of those earlier trades, Clover7 has found himself a little bit down in terms of CS, and MV carry with that level 6, able to get that shove, move over, secures a pretty simple Drake for Ruddy.
Simple Drake, but this is actually a pretty effective Drake for the Sejuani. It will be effective for the Darius later on. I think you're going to feel comfortable with this as Ruddy, but no real acceleration play coming out on that 530 wave from Domino. They weren't able to really get anything from it. MV Carry must have had a pretty good wave state for himself at that point, but they are finding a mark on top. They are actually going to try to stop the Darius.
Yeah, knockup going to come through there from Spooder, but not utilized by Clover7. This is looking very close to a solo kill. Not quite, but Spooder is the one that walks out with the credit.
Yeah, I mean, they had the information of Sejuani bot side the moment that the Drake was taken, and they acted on the information really well, and Darius was out of sync in terms of waves with the rest of his team on that. Really good opening from him, but in typical Darius fashion, he has the opening moves, but when it comes to thinking for himself, the only way he knows is forward.
Yeah, credit to Domino, right? You pick up a kill, you get one for Spooder, who is going to feel great about that, and that poses a bit more of a threat to someone like Toaster or MV Carry, because while Shihan can run through team fights, Spooder's shown the ability to sort of just appear at the side of them on top of your backline already.
Yeah, 100%. Big problem that we've got here is that you've blind picked Vorm. So even though you have the potential to lane bully on bot side, the moment they lock in an enchanter, you are just falling further and further behind, right? Toaster's sat here with a wave of lead, a wave and a bit, right? Realistically, just a wave of lead. But there's still a lot. And this affiliate that you want to get snowballing, it hasn't happened. But we did say the impetus of that is getting mid-jungle and transitioning in towards bot side. So it's much easier to get that state of play in now that Yasuo's on the board.
Shihan going for a little bit of a proxy, but Domino will interrupt it. Okay, he's kind of just let himself get caught out and given another kill over to Spooder. This is not what you wanted to happen.
He was so good at knowing when Gragas was transitioning from bot to top beforehand and knowing where he could proxy, and then suddenly it's just all collapsed, right? A lot of that knowledge he isn't able to use now. Yes, the camps are up on bot side, but he should know that there was timing there for Gragas to be there. But he wasn't. Shackle playing really well early, punishing the Darius. We thought that this Darius was kind of one and done, but doesn't look that way.
Not at all. That matchup has definitely shifted in terms of the relative power levels. Domino trying to take this Stray, this Herald. Zapto instead going to be starting it up, and three members of Domino could converge here. Shihan over the wall, but he's going to have a rough time getting into this fight. The flash not quite able to catch on to Zapto, and now Domino are the ones who have maybe overstepped around the Herald. Clover7 has the flash, will use it to get away. A little bit of a whoopsie around the Herald. It's going to go over to Ruddy.
Yeah, they really needed that knock-up to land, but it did not. If Clover can immediately eliminate, there you go, it's a tongue twister, one person from the fight at the start, then the game becomes quite easy for Domino, but they weren't able to do that, and they betrayed that they have no more abilities up, no more sources to knock up because there was no tornado. Shackle got that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
He did.
Yeah.
Good stuff, him.
Easy
Defensive Raptor Smites. Maybe that's a stat that we can track. Pretty good. Tax was able to get one, Shackle was able to get one as well. It's just rude. Yeah. It's just really rude to Clover7 at this point.
Yeah. They all heard the snappy speech. Oh! He dodged everything after the bone plating was down.
That was pretty suave of him. That was pretty damn good. Dragons, veteran, we have been taking these post-minute, well, pre-10 minutes. Well, we've taken the one that spawned pre-10 minutes on the side of Ruddy. We're going to have another one in just over a minute. And from times we've glanced towards this bot lane, it does feel like it's been Pui and Toaster consistently with the push and with the prior, and you'd expect that that would lead to Ruddy being in a bit of a better position to take the objective.
I mean, you would think so. And given that Shackle has the ultimate up, though, and 2axes has his ultimate up, and 2axes is on fairly decent items for a skirmish, it may not be that simple. Yes, they can enter early on for that objective, but I do think Domino have the ability to force a fight, and if you can't enter first, you basically guarantee you need to fight, and I do think the skirmishing power of Domino is pretty huge, so long as they land their abilities this time. Darius, my god, does not like Spooder. Spooder doesn't have TP, so he can't just abandon this and try to play half a bot side. If something happens bot, it could potentially be a 4v4 on that Drake.
Yeah, and it is interesting that sort of the consistent answer coming through from Domino has been to go towards the Aris. It's not been to try and get Clover 7 or 2axes in a really advantageous spot. It's playing towards Spooder, and it's worked in the past of them. We've seen the team do very well in the NLC off of the back of a carry top laner. But you are pigeonholing yourself in terms of who can carry. Darius, notorious for his ability to 2v1 Shehan, not going to be given the opportunity, though, as Shackle gets his first kill of the game.
Yep, Shackle did not have to burn his ultimate for it either. That was just the exploding Q that went down. Clover playing very aggressively in mid because now he knows he has the threat of both top and jungle. Gragas has vanished. For all MV Carry knows, Gragas is about to hit that brush in mid lane right now. Clover going super aggressively, fighting for priority here. He knows if MV Carry goes in, his jungler can pivot in much better than Sejuani can. Else Spooder could potentially threaten. Look how much Spooder got top, by the way. Down to 2 plates.
It's incredible stuff. Starby flash for an engage. Zapdo dodging away from the Glacial Prison. MV Carry flashing back in the mid lane to get away from the potential engage. We're getting a 4v4 here in the bottom side river, and it's going well for Clover 7. Get the ult, but only onto 1 and 2 axes. The first casualty of the fight. This Yasuo cannot find a kill as it stands. The healing from the Soraka is way too annoying. And Ruddy, they get the kill on the ADC. They should be able to pick up the kill on the Yasuo as well, but Clover 7 will find a minion wave and dash to safety.
I mean, Pui is on Soraka, but it's Clover 7 that feels like S here because, my god, he could not one-shot Zapdo, and so Pui is able to get the heals off, and Yasuo just can't get anyone. It looked like such a nice engage for Domino. Looked like potentially such a nice fight for them, but Clover, he's just gonna die.
Yeah, overextending to the bot lane, and he doesn't even get a retribution kill back onto Zapdo. This is a lot of gold going over to Ruddy. Shackle looking for a little bit of a 2v1 play. Pui very low on HP. If he's able to get those Qs, get those rejuvenate stacking up, it could be an issue for Domino, but with more members moving over, they should be able to pick up the kill 2axes with that one.
Resisted the urge to just dunk on the guy of the W there. Nicely done by Shackle. He's playing this game very, very, very well. But my god, you can already see it's going to be an issue dealing with Soraka later on, right? Soraka with the E on top of the Yasuo as well is also just going to be very difficult if the Yasuo ever gets into a priority target. If you can't one-shot, Soraka's just going to guarantee that you can't do anything. And right now, he's not on the item to do so, also because of the Soraka. Also, least powerful Aphelios moment here.
Chevy doesn't feel great to play against sometime, but do you know what? I think Toaster's going to be happy with how the laning phase has gone. He's 2-0, he's got his Trinity Force, he's performed well enough, and you look at the laning phases and the sort of performances coming out from Ruddy's bot lane in week 1. And again, veteran, we've got another switch up in terms of how these players are performing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Snappy hasn't been allowed to leave bot lane, and previously you'd think he might just leave bot lane, but he realizes that might be a bit troll, and the enemy might enjoy going 2v1 double range into Aphelios on the tower too much. Right? So,
speaking of 2v1, Spooder, you have killed the enemy Darius.
Yeah? I mean, he's cracked.
Really wants that MVP.
She hams an egg. Yeah,
really wants that MVP. Three
Well,
members of
Duffy's
Domino's
ready
here
to
in the mid
troll
lane.
this
MV
time,
carry
so-
needs to be careful. Ooh, dodges away from the keeper, goes back in. Oh, CC going wide from Domino's. The only reason that MV carry is still alive, but a double cast into a double lockup surely is going to be enough. The healing keeps coming
Please.
through. Finally, MV carry is going to drop down, but it
my
ends up being a
God.
1-for-1 Pui with so much value coming out of the Soraka.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge issue if your plan is to just dive them on repeat, right? And let's be real, we talked about the triple dive by Ruddy. The triple dive also exists for Domino, and both teams are anti-dive champs. Soraka's just, I mean, honestly, the dumbest one. Like, out of the two of them, like, what do you do if your entire team is now just on top of a Soraka E? You literally can't do anything at all.
Yeah.
You have been silenced. You've lost your voice. There is nothing for you to do here. You can't even whine about it on Twitter.com. You have nothing anymore.
And it's especially potent against something like Cassante, whose whole thing is low cooldown,
no.
high impact dashes, Clover
Yeah.
in. Kind of a mirror of what we saw a few minutes ago, having to flash out that mid lane kind of for free.
Yeah, I mean, Cassante, Yasuo, both. This Soraka presents massive issues. Her R basically countered the Yasuo R because Yasuo thought they were in execution range. The execution range doesn't exist every time Hui has that cooldown up. They're not going to get contested on this, which means on the next contester, Drake, Hui will have the Soraka ult up again. That is the critical timing of this game. We had the Lucian timing last game and the Nocturne timing, but this game, all eyes are on that Soraka cooldown and on that Gragas Yasuo cooldown. It looks like the Gragas has a small window with which to freely set up for the Yas, and looks like the Yas has pretty good windows. So we have to see how they play that when the Soraka isn't around, if they can even do so.
Yeah, we do have Ruddy here sort of playing off resets. Would be their soul point Drake if they're able to take it down, but it's a tall task to face check into this Domino squad, especially when you look at Shackle right now. 2-0-2 on the Gragas, has that Knight's Harvester and the Sword Shoe, so being squishy and interacting with that Gragas is a bad idea. Ruddy seem happy to give this one up. They're going to summon the Herald in the mid lane, look for the tower.
I mean, it's not soul point for Domino, it would have been soul point for Ruddy, but did they value that, or did they value opening up the map? And you know me, I'm a map kind of guy, right? And they've been able to do so, gives them a lot more opportunities, a lot less opportunities for Domino to be able to avoid their all-in, right? It doesn't really change anything about the poke Ruddy have, but it definitely changes the opportunities Ruddy have to get a team fight in their favor where they just run their opponents down. The longer a team fight goes, the better it is for Soraka, and the longer the lane is, the longer the potential you have for a team fight. They don't just have to stop at a tower in mid lane anymore.
Yeah, I'm imagining Shehan getting like a reset on that Darius, ghosting forward and just charging relentlessly at the entire backline. Yes, he's maybe not in the best spot that he could be in this game, but he's going to have the rest of the team setting up for him as well. And for Toaster, I think once he hits that Mirror Mana transformation with the completed Mana Mune as well, this Ezreal is going to be really difficult to deal with.
Is this is 13-11, right? This is post all of the changes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I'm of the hot take that I think Moonstone, even on Soraka, is somewhat useless.
Okay.
I actually think I would prefer that she just built like Shirelia's or something, right? And just used it with Aerie, right? I feel like the move speed is much more valuable now. Moonstone's just not really in a very good spot. In the same way that Healy is just in a terrible spot. I honestly, I think Soraka, I think Enchanters in general have been sold short here. But I think the champion is just broken, so should go well either way.
Yeah,
the champion's really good here. It's a good pick.
Your items are bad, but unfortunately, you are just the champion is very, very good. And I agree with you. Like for all the reasons that we've sort of been listing off, like the reason that the Soraka works in this composition so well for Ruddy, and for Ruddy, hey. You're still in this game. You are more than still in this game. You're going toe-for-toe for a team that went 2-0 last week. And I think that this is maybe less impressive than Nord's performance up against Verdant in the previous game. But it is still one of these teams that needed to show something in week 2, fundamentally showing something in week 2.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's the story of today, right? The teams that were put on the back foot last week are able to get a foot forward this week, able to get a foot in the door, able to get a win, able to start climbing the standings. Ruddy,
Over 7.
they're feeling this. That's a good TP burn. You could just play for the TP burn and walk away. Now the map is much easier for you. No teleports up on Domino. They don't have the freedom to just use Spooder to hard pressure bot, and look what's coming up. You would love it if Spooder could just hard pressure bot and still maintain presence top.
Already looking for a pick. Zapdo going to get caught by the Winter's Bite. No one else spotted out though, still taking their time. If you find a pick now, Baron, very, very easy for you to just rush onto and start up.
Darius top, Akali bot. That's what I think the lane should be like right now, and I think if Soraka Ezreal play mid with their sustain and with the Soraka global, I think then you're in the best situation. Because you want to take advantage of the fact that you have teleport advantage right now. If you put Darius bot side, you can't take advantage of that.
Yeah, as it stands, it's going to be MV Carry shoving out that top lane wave. Domino, quite concerned here that Ruddy could start up the Baron at any point, but with Shihan moving on to that bottom side, I feel like that threat is going to be averted, and they can sort of go back to normal laning.
I'm wondering if Darius at this point, with Stridebreaker and Soraka Ultimate, genuinely just straight beats Spooder, even though Spooder is on double item, right? Because my indication, my feeling would be no. But if it's true, then this map setup's completely
Domino.
fine. Yeah, Domino have to force, because they can't just play out a map. If they play out a map and Spooder's forced on bot, then then Darius can just walk to Baron, because he have no teleport, right? So they had to force something, but they're not able to find a pick. They're not aggressive enough on this. You couldn't play chess here. You had to play rugby.
Very different sports.
Yes.
Very, very different sports.
Yes.
But
That's
Ruddy,
that's why I said it. Contrast.
No, that fits the metaphor. No, I agree with you. But Ruddy, they're sort of like using the fact that Domino were a bit overly passive, right? To walk down mid, take that tower. That's going to extend their ability to push vision even further. We got a Drake coming up in 30 seconds, and if you've got no mid lane towers, generating priority, it's risky.
Yeah, I mean, you can get run down here as Domino. They're trying to find something, but Shihan finds something.
Yeah, and he just completely obliterates Clover 7. A double kill for the Darius. And with that mid lane opened up, he is free to run them down. 4 kills for Ruddy. Drake a certainty.
Up the Ruddy! They are swinging. They are officially ahead in kills. They are officially ahead in gold. And they've been ahead on the map for a while. And they can take their pick and they say, we want to have it all. Baron and Drake potentially going to Ruddy. Yes, Spooder has decided he doesn't want that.
Not a fan of it. It's taking a little bit of time for this dragon, for both of these objectives really to get taken down. But Domino, yeah, not really in a position to contest either of them. So Ruddy will be able to pick up that Drake and pick up the big purple worm. This is looking pretty damn good.
I mean, entirely depends on where your votes went. I think it's going really good for Witter.
Wait, yeah, he voted for... no, I voted for Domino. It's not going well for me today, bro.
Yeah, it really isn't. But, you know... I mean, hats off to Ruddy. I mean, they do need to make stuff happen. They were a team that we figured were mid-tier. Kind of with Nord earlier. And both of them, they've come back to say, yes, you know what? We think that tier list was much more accurate than it looked like in week 1. It's all good, guys. There are signs of life here. Domino, they're just unable to find anything right now. Ruddy, they were able to get a really good map state earlier. They were able to get a better force. Like, Domino's were the ones that had to be forcing, but Ruddy were the ones that actually did it. Clover 7, though. Oh my god, look at this.
Going for that push.
Yeah.
Domino maybe going for a fight in the mid lane here. Trying to isolate MV Carry. Is going to be able to dash himself away. 2 axes. Getting hit with a Glacial Prison to prevent him from engaging onto Ruddy, who are retreating towards the enemy base. Yes, they've just taken down that top lane, tier 2, and the inhib tower appears to be the next focus.
Yeah, I mean... Ruddy are going straight for it on top side, but Clover 7, he figures he doesn't win the fight here, right? But they could potentially win in a grouping. Interesting to see if that happens. Zapdos split, and Vicari split. I'm sorry, Phileas. Ezreal is the one that you would prefer to be split, but he's a slippery customer. Honestly, how do they really do anything here?
It's difficult, and I've got to say, Ruddy sort of moving Domino around the map there. Yes, you had that potential engage in the mid lane, but Ruddy, so happy to sort of take that inhibitor in the top lane, and that's going to give them a much better position on the map when we start looking at stuff like Ocean Soul, stuff like Baron that are coming up in a few minutes.
Yeah, but it is in a few minutes' time. Until then, whoever can win the lanes is king. And I think now, Darius definitely does not fear whatever it was that Spuda was throwing at him earlier. He's very confident in his position. He is playing with the global Soraka ultimate as well, so he has the stats. Spuda, you can see, is trying to push up topside there, while Darius is trying to push out bot side, and Darius is ahead on that trade. So right now, Ruddy just have to maintain this two-lane state that they've got going. Spuda is the one that will be forced to match them. I cannot remember if Spuda had teleport or not. If he did, just make sure that your flanks are unwarded. He does. Then you have to just make sure your flanks are unwarded. So look at that pink on bot lane. That is where Spuda's going to try to make something happen.
Yeah, and I can see Shackle as well, just waiting in the side. I think Domino know that a flank is the way that they win this game. Ruddy,
oh my god.
I think probably similarly aware, but they haven't been able to spot out the Gragas just yet. If Spuda does want to go for that ward, it's going to be a very long way for him to find it. You see the pings going down on the minimap. Ruddy continuing the push. Domino looking for a fight.
Gragoony!
He's on the side, throws out the party cast, but it knocks Pui back! That's not the direction that you want to throw the Soraka at all, and the party is over for Domino! And Shackle gets kicked out of there! Spuda in the backline, 1v5, no, it's Clover 7! Trying to cause some sort of chaos, but Xian with the Ghost is going to be able to run him down. The Darius will be more than happy to take the 1v1 versus this Yasuo. For the rest of Ruddy, though, it's all about the base, it's all about pushing as much as they can.
Shihan kind of wishes he has a bit more move speed here, but it doesn't matter. He's just keeping Yasuo from grouping up. Ruddy win this particular grouping 4v3. They're going to take the tower, they're going to push in, they're going to break the base, and then you have to think it becomes, I have to think of another phrase to say it because I keep using the same one every time, a question of when Ruddy will end rather than if.
Maybe
he got
Domino going to be able to grab something here as Clever 7 does finally go down off of our screen. Domino, they're still looking for this fight, though. They see that Shihan isn't there. They're able to capitalize it, take out Toaster, a shutdown for Shackle. Spuda going to be stunned, but still chasing forward onto Zapdo, knocking him into the sky and into the rest of his team. A 4th kill for him, but Domino, they need to be careful. There are super minions on their Nexus towers.
Yeah, I mean, they wish they could convert this into Drake control, maybe try and make a play for that, but they have to spend too much time in the base. Shihan is not letting them get away with it. All the towers are up, but they weren't able to get an inhib, so there's only one lane of super minions they have to worry about right now as Dominoes. They can take that, but they may just be against a Ocean Soul empowered Ruddy on next, with a Soraka, with Redemption, with Moonstone, with everything up, and that sounds balanced.
It sounds unfun to play against.
Why is... Okay, no, I'm not going to say it. Okay, just continue.
We'll not worry about it for the time being. Domino, though, again, seeing that if they lose this soul, it's going to be very bad for them, so they're going to be starting it up. Ruddy moving over here. Should be able to get here just in time to contest.
Envy?
And for Domino, that's going to make things really rough. Envy looking for a flank, a double Abrad. Where is 2axes gone? Clover 7 on the side, hunting for Pui, trying to take down this Soraka, and he is going to be able to, but the rest of his team is absolutely in the dirt. Shackle walking away, Spuda being chased down by Zapdo, and for Ruddy, it's a case of running into the base and taking out the Nexus.
Up the Ruddy right there. The inhibitor minions on top lane are just going to push themselves. Ruddy are going to push out bot. Spuda's having some fun with Zapdo, but Zapdo is the one who's laughing because he is the man who is going to claim the win today. Ruddy, they're going to be 1 and 2. They're taking out one of the only 2 undefeated. Both undefeateds have been taken down today, and both of them were taken down by 0 and 2 teams. The bottom has taken out the top of the standings in the NLC. Continue. I'm going to push this.